Oh my, it's Kelly White.
Hey, it's James and Kellee.
What are you up to?
Thinking about changing the world.
Me too. We should do a show together.
What would it be about?
Let me show you.
The James and Kellee Show. I actually say wee.
It's so crazy.
Hi, Kelly White.
Bad cartoon voice, boy. I used to do voiceovers too.
I bet that was fun.
Yeah, it was. I never got a job, but I did them. I mean, also for a couple of Disney things, voiceover. I was pretty good, but yeah.
I bet. Well, happy Passover and happy Easter
Happy
almost.
Passover, Palm Sunday, and everyone called me and say it's Palm Sunday. I said, oh, okay. Lapsed Catholic, I remember that. And then they burn them, and of course, this Wednesday is Ash Wednesday in that tradition.
Oh.
And they put ash on the forehead to remind you of dust.
Oh, is that it?
And to
Okay.
dust you shall return, which is, they got that somewhat right. Yeah. But
There you go.
and your rise up on Sunday. So, yeah.
Hi, James.
Like, time's going by fast, isn't it? It just
Oh
seems
my
to be.
gosh. Do you believe it's going to be April soon?
I know. But then again, after when the first COVID thing started, I stepped back and whatever, just observe it and watch it go.
I know. It's hard to believe that it's been a whole year, though, and a little more
Yeah.
for COVID.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yes. Getting my shot on Thursday, first one.
Oh, I'm so happy. Do you know which one you're going to get?
Not the Moderna one.
I got Moderna. Now, Don had his first shot
remember.
today. You remember when I had that?
Sure, we did
Don
show.
had his shot today. He had Pfizer.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk today, Kelly, about connecting with the spirit world for mediumship. Yes.
Yes.
So we've been mediums. Well, I've been 40 years. You've been about, what, 15,
20.
20 years, 25 years? Your whole life, but realized it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So why don't we just play with this and just stay connecting? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
Tell me,
question.
should we talk about how do you connect? What is a medium?
Right. So a medium for everybody that's watching this and listening to it later on or watching it later on, everybody is psychic from one degree or another. So we all have that if you will, a sixth sense, that soul language is intuition. So, and that's psychic, and that's able to interpret energy for the past, present, or future, if you will, meaning so knowing about them, feeling things out. But mediumship is very different. Every medium is psychic, but every psychic is a medium. And that every medium has a very strong foundation of intuition, of psychic ability. You have to. But not every psychic is a medium. So that's what people get it wrong. So you have to have that high degree of sensitivity and a psychic, if you will, awareness. And then beyond that, a medium is someone who's able to bring up the power. If you call the power, that I'm just going to say unconditional love, a sense of self, the essence of your soul, and bringing that energy, it's everything's energy, bringing that energy up to a high vibration, because everything is frequency. So it's bringing it to a higher frequency or turning up the radio dial to a higher station. And we do that through sitting development, working through meditation, and we bring that energy up to a certain space up and around us, expanding us. And the spirit people will actually work on slowing down their vibration because they're at a very fast vibratory rate. So they have to slow down theirs, and the medium brings theirs up, and they meet in the middle. And that's why it's called medium, in the middle. And then what happens is the medium is just, well, a good medium is someone who will just surrender the mind and open up that mind space, because the soul, I think, is a mind. The mind is a soul. The brain does it physical death, but the mind continues on. And the mind is made up of many memories of this life and other lives, if you will. So in mediumship, it really is the mind-to-mind communication. So it is telepathic. And what happens is the spirit people will work at sending a thought, a memory, of emotion, the personality with this vision or a thought into the mind of the medium. And the medium, they're very open, they surrender, they can pick up these subtle, if you will, subtle indications, whether it's emotion, a memory, a name, things like that. And then they give it forward. And again, the secret of mediumship and contact is not letting it sit in the medium's head, but just giving it right out, give whatever you get.
Right.
You know? So everybody is everybody a medium? No, I think everybody has a possibility, but it's like everybody has the ability to play the piano, but not everybody is a concert pianist. So some people are born with sort of a formula or a makeup in their soul that brings them to the frequency they're able to get there, attain that, and their personality, if you will. And so I wrote some suggestions for most people out there because I believe that everybody can feel spirit and have an experience with spirit, no doubt. But to do it on a regular basis, a medium, you have to develop that. I think if you have that ability, you need to develop it further and further. Just it's like a doctor. A doctor doesn't go out and just do medicine. They have to go to school for 8 years and
Right.
practice and work. Same thing with mediumship. Nobody should just go out and take one class and do
God.
mediumship.
Oh my gosh. What
It's
is your process, James, as a medium?
So we just talked a little about this. It changed over the years as my medium changed, the process changed. So when I first started, it was very different than it is now. When I first started, I would say a prayer. So number one, I put myself in a space, an awareness space. So we call it a mind space, if you will, a sense of sacredness, if you will, a silence, stillness, if you will. And what I really would do is say that prayer, and I'd become aware of the love of myself, I love who I am as a soul, and I'd bring that up to a higher level, and I'd send forth love, or I'd say the word love, and then I'd just send that, and I'd open up to feel them sending energy back to me. And then I would start also with a prayer, and I still do a prayer, Divine Heavenly Parent, and it goes on. I can't remember because that's in the headspace of doing it. But it's a prayer that, number one, sets the intention of the work. And number two, it asks them to come close to us. Now, they always are close to us, but this is more for the human, I think, to know that they're there. And it's a process that, it's like anything. You turn the radio and you tune in. So it's a process of, if you do it over and over again, you get used to that. And that's what I did. So I did prayer. And that was it really until I noticed that the more I tried, the harder it was.
So
Right?
true.
And the more I was in stillness or surrender, the easier it was. And I don't want to say like I didn't care, but in that mindset, it's like you can't really, not care is not the right word, you can't really be invested to that because it's not about you. It's about the spirit and it's about the person on the earth. So I tell this all the time, this analogy I love. It's if a feather's flying in the sky, you can catch it. Just put your hand out, wait for it to find your hand. But if you don't chase that feather, try to catch it, you won't. It'll go away.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how it is and how sensitive it is.
It's so interesting because my mediumship has changed, especially working with you when we do
The process you went through the beginning, and now what do you do?
my process is I keep my energy. It's like energy's in a bank for me. So I have a certain amount of energy all day,
Mm-hmm.
and I take really good care of myself the day before I'm going to do readings, and then the days that I'm going to do readings, and I do them 4 days in a row. So
And
I
how
have
many a day, Kelly?
how many a day?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you.
I'm gonna stop you.
Probably too many. I do readings between 3, 4,
That's
and
fine.
then about
It's
4.
just moderation. It's just, as I said, taking care of yourself. Everything is
Yeah,
balanced.
everything is balance. Yeah,
And
and
so,
then
so when you first started, you said you did a prayer when you first started. Or
I would start with a prayer. I used to, and I still will stay in a meditative state. I stay in a meditative state. I have my energy really good and flowing, and I feel physically really good. And I keep very positive, like you around me. I have flowers around me. I have good energy. Sometimes I'll listen to a song that gets my vibration up.
That's right.
But here's the difference. I used to kind of go in.
Yeah.
Almost like searching for this,
Yes.
medium. I needed the answer. And I would say to the other side, please come closer. And now I don't do any of that. Now I surrender and I lean back.
Yeah, I did a mediumship event last night at Jen Havoc in New Jersey, and I love Jen. Jen just sits back in her chair, and goes, okay, and it's just having a
That's
conversation,
it.
which is what it is. It really is a conversation, and people make such a thing about it, but it's very natural. The more you can surrender and open the mind and still the mind, and just breathe through breathing or meditation, we can get in that space. So if anybody out there want to contact people, there are different ways of. I'm sorry to cut you off. What's your process nowadays? Then does it change?
Now I just lean back and I just keep my energy open, and I look. The day before and the day of, look. I see or I'll hear different things. I'll get messages. I see pictures, and then I make notes of them because I know that it's going to come in that day for me. That I'm going to need this information. My energy is just very different. I keep it open and high.
And you have changed over the years. From first met you, you're very, very different now. It's important to note at that point. I just have to say this: people think that it's easy for spirit to communicate, and not necessarily. Just because it passed over to the spirit world doesn't mean they know how to communicate.
Right.
the process they have to go through, like making this thought and building that thought and having the energy send it to the mind of the medium. It takes a while for them to get it sometimes. And when there's more emotion, a lot of emotion, it's easier. And I know for me, when I get through a lot of emotion and reading, it's easier. Probably you as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And Kat, what do you do in between readings? So prepare.
Well, I take a break in between and I go outside and I walk with my dogs. I look at the sky. Sometimes I'll exercise. I take a break. I take a break. Might have something to eat. I might drink some water. I take a break, clear my energy completely.
Right. Yeah, and I've done that where I've done reading after reading, and I would do a kind of thing where I do a waterfall, and I just set the intention of cleansing, and I have this in my school, and the waterfall is just a celestial waterfall. I come down and it cleanses all the auric field, any energy from other people,
Right.
or that loved one. It goes down to Mother Earth, and I wash my hands. I wash my hands.
Oh, I do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a new day. I sometimes I'll imagine I'm turning over a brand new page in a book, a blank book.
Yes.
And that's a good one.
Yes.
And yeah, I think people could, that the spirit world's always around us, but we have to kind of open ourselves up if you want to connect with them, just be open. The more you try, the harder, like you said, the more you go in, you will not get a connection because you're trying too hard and you're blocking the subtleties.
Yes.
And that's, I tell a lot of moms and dads this, and so they'll come through when you give them the space to come through.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do give them the space. And they'll communicate differently. Some more visual, some more emotional.
Right.
Because just like that person on the earth, they come through that way, very much that way. And a medium, good medium, will bring through the essence of that personality, and sometimes the actual movements they would do with the physical body. Or sometimes you can start off a contact, say, give me a movement, and you'll do something. And they say, oh my God, that's my father. He used to do that all the time. Those things happen.
So true, James. I get that a lot with the movements. All of a sudden, or even the voice, and I'll get real serious. It depends on who the soul is that's coming through. But I lean back, I attune, and so I see pictures. I'm clairaudient. I hear a great deal, and then I between hearing and then seeing pictures and then seeing.
Yeah, I have a combination of all of those. I don't know which is the stronger because, again, some spirits will use my clairvoyance in a very skillful way.
Right.
And as you know, you've seen it, but they bring me on a tour of the house, and I'll tell them what the lost gold ring is, the engagement ring. It's in the second drawer, the third bedroom, and that's been really amazing. And they say, yes.
Well, you just had this the other day where you did a reading for somebody and they said, no, no, no. And you were talking about a ring in the second drawer behind.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a watch.
It was a watch?
His son's watch. Yeah, David's son. And he said, he's telling me there's a watch was in the second drawer. And he goes, I don't know what that means. And no one did. And then days later, the sister said, oh, I have my second drawer. And our brother gave me this watch. So that was, yeah, it happens. Well, they'll show me it. And it's just so interesting. It's great to be nosy when you're a medium because the more you know, the more curiosity you have.
That's true. That's true.
It's true. Yeah. And I think also, like when we talk about preparation, whether it's a professional medium or someone who wants to contact spirit, you first have to create that space, or the process, like the on-off switch, which whether you're raising your power, saying a prayer, having a wonderful day. And it's really that sense of the intention. And I find, Kelly, there's got to be a little bit of enthusiasm. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That inner enthusiasm, that happiness, oh my gosh, the joy that I'm reaching. And that's really, I think it gives the spirit world something to work with because they come in the vibration of love. And love is the fastest vibration and frequency we can go to. So the more love we have, the more they can use that to come in.
Yes.
That makes sense. So it's very exciting to do a reading, and I'm really, let's go for it. It's going to be exciting. And I get excited to change people's lives. I get excited to give them back their life from the spirit world.
I love that. It's the best part, James.
Yeah, and help them to open up their spiritual selves as well. Because I think many times that's why they come through, to help the person open up their soul self.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this. What is your belief? Do you believe that souls on the other side take a class to work with a medium?
Yes, whether it's a class, I have seen many times. I've been in demonstrations with large audiences, and I'll see it's almost like a choir above their heads, almost like a choir loft, if you will. And they have all these soul beings, and they have nothing at all to do with anybody in the audience. They're observing the process. So the future they can go and try to get through to a medium, so they'll know the right way to do it. See, and it's very interesting because I wrote about this in my last Adventures of Soul. Really interesting that many souls, many spirits will go to different mediums and watch different mediums around the world and see how they work and which would be easier to work with, because every soul has a medium they like. It's true. It's 'cause they get
It's
through here.
very true. And for instance, too, like I'm not a medium. If somebody's been murdered, I'm really probably not going to be that medium that soul's going to work through because it's not my, I don't watch the shows. I don't really pay attention to that. It's not my thing. But if somebody, for me, if they're having a psychological issue or if they had suicide or if they're any of those things, often I get those, the
And
emotional ones.
I remember when you had a week of suicides, they wouldn't stop. I remember
Oh,
you a week of them. And I
it's
said,
unbelievable.
they know they can use that aspect of your soul
Yeah.
because you've had that in your patients, and you
Yeah.
can use it. So the spirit will use the references of a medium, and really, I'd say the best mediums in the world are the ones who have lived the most of life and traveled the most and
Right.
have a lot of life experiences that the
Right.
spirit can use when they come through.
Yes.
There was a man by the name, it's Albert Best in England, and he was a great medium and would always get postal codes and addresses. I'm like, how could he get addresses? Well, he worked for the postal service over there for 35 years, so that was his frame of reference. So that's how he was able to.
Oh, I love it. Alicia McGuire says, when you hear things, do you hear voices, or is it if that they are talking through your thoughts?
Oh, good
It's a good
question.
question.
I hear thoughts. I'd say it that way. I would hear if they came to me, and there's subjective and objective. Subjective is within, so I hear the thoughts. But objective being out, you'd actually hear a physical voice,
Right.
which it's rare, but it does happen. It's rare
Mhm.
mediumship, but it does happen. And yeah,
I find it happened for me when I would begin the process as a medium. I would actually hear the voices really loudly, and I think they were just spirit was trying to get my attention. Now I hear the
or
thoughts.
practicing with you. They're practicing with the vessel. They're practicing on what they can use, what they can empower. They practice with us for a long time to develop us. They're developing an instrument, really. So to
Yeah.
fine tune that instrument. And we have to give them the space to fine tune too, which is like sitting in a development circle, sitting in the quiet, which I'll talk about just a little bit, sitting in the quiet and just giving them the space they need to work with us.
Right. Let's talk about developmental circle.
A development circle is where there are like-minded people, other practicing medium students, and they will sit, whether it's once a week, twice a week, usually 6 to 12 people in a circle, and they meet the same time every week. And now, of course, it's on Zoom, which can be very effective. And there's a circle leader, and they usually will. The way it's conducted is different in different places, but my way would be opening with a prayer, and each person just, says something that gets their voice there. So maybe a prayer for each person, and then they sit. I would say sit in the quiet. That's how I was trained. Just sitting in the quiet and really working in your own soul self, and then becoming aware then, and not trying so hard, just being aware of how I would just go to each person. I'd go and feel their energy and see what's going on with them. And then sometimes I'd pick up someone behind them. And then I'd go around the whole circle. And then if I didn't pick up anything, I'd just say, I'm here to be used. Where do you might want my attention to go to? And they will show me someone behind someone or something like that. So development circles, it's a very important process. It's very important to do that if you're going to be a professional medium. I believe that solely because it gives the spirit world, something to work with, to work with you, to practice with you, to develop your. It's a flower. A flower can't grow in the dark. Flowers don't grow in the light, and you're really opening up the higher aspects of your being. And developing that. And it also gives a sense of self. It also empowers you and you feel better about yourself. You have a connection with your soul, and your soul begins to expand, and you have a whole different relationship with who you think you are. You become much more expanded and aware. Your perspective shifts.
And you're right. I mean, it does take time to develop.
It does. It can't be rushed.
Cannot be rushed. And at the same time, I would always talk about for mediums that are just coming up to please pay attention psychologically to how grounded you are, because at the same time, you need to be very grounded, because this work, when you start off and you might get really excited, you get, a name and you get a place and it gets very exciting. And at the same time, you have to be grounded.
Yes. You can't be so, as Mavis Patilla says, you can't be so spiritually aware that you know earthly good. And when I was, which I love.
Love her.
And when I was starting to open up my power, and in any meditation I ever did, and I started with an audience meditation, I'd always have them ground first and find cords going down to Mother Earth, finding 2 rocks and tying them up. Because as you say, we're electrical systems and we have to ground ourselves.
Right.
If not, you'll be gone off and you won't be, and it's not healthy either. I've met mediums who rush the development process, don't sit there properly, and they rush through and not realizing that their adrenal system is being used, the endocrine system is being taxed, and years later get sick, get cancer, get disease of some kind or some bone thing, whatever it might be, and it taxes them. So they don't do that to yourself. You need to develop slowly.
And you have to keep your vessel healthy. I mean, you have to eat healthy.
Exactly.
You have to, sleep. I mean, your body, because it's the mind, body, and soul. It's it's all of it, this instrument that we have.
I wrote I don't know what book it was in, but I did say something about the diet and this sort of thing. And I don't know. I said something about coffee, and like some years later, I was like, "You don't drink coffee?" I said, "Oh no, I do drink coffee. Yeah, I have a glass of wine occasionally." And so what it is moderation. Everything in life is moderation.
Right.
That's really what the key is in life. It's moderation. That's what it's about. Yeah, and humility. Humility is a big one. Talk about being
Oh,
grounded. The most, I don't again, the most successful, most incredible mediums I know that are the most grounded, humble people in the world. Even Leslie
correct.
Flint, who's a physical medium, one of the most humble people you can meet. So humility goes a long, long way because if you're humble, you're open to learning all different things.
Oh, and spirit wants to come through.
Exactly.
They're
And
not
they
going to
might have
come
an idea how
through
to
with an
work with
ego
you.
situation.
Yeah, exactly. And they might have a very different way, a plan for your development
Right.
than They might have a whole, and you got to give them that respect because they're from a different space.
Right.
And they might work on you in a much different way than you're used to or you've been told to. So it's all different ways. I believe mediumship is shifting now. Of course, it's changing as we all change. And I think it's obviously because of the computer and technology, but I think there's going to be a different way. Not sure yet what. It's going to be faster, though. I'll say that. It's going to be faster. The message will be faster. I think connections will be much quicker for people. But yeah, because our vibratory rate is shifting here on this planet. So kind of
Boy,
speed.
it sure is. Lori Kimmel says, can a medium tell if a person has negative or positive energy
So a psychic.
by looking at them?
Well, intuitive, a psychic, any psychic can do that. They're decent. Any psychic is able to feel the energy of someone. And everybody here feels energy. When you walk into a room and you've never been before, you feel energy. Or you meet somebody the first time, you feel good or bad. You get that sense, that vibe. We all do that. So yeah, so you don't be a medium, but a psychic would do that.
Right, right. So, James, are people born medium? Can they learn it? What
Well,
is your
like I said
thought?
earlier, everybody is born with the potential of playing the piano, but not everybody is a concert pianist. So there are certain aspects of that soul that have to be activated, have to be embedded in the soul personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back here in order to use it. And for instance, I never thought I never believed in this sort of thing. I never. But I knew it'd be well known. I didn't know what it would be, the writing, scripts, or even acting when I was 18. But I didn't know I'd be doing this. Nick never ever told me this ever. I would never believe it. But it's like, and maybe that's the best thing. And maybe that's the
Right.
best, and you be of service. It's really about service. It's service the humanity, serving humankind. It's all about service. It is all about service. So we talked about it earlier. It was all about
So
service.
true. I remember years ago you said to me, I had a business, and you said, "Oh no, you're going to be a medium. You're a medium." I'll never forget when you said that.
Even when you're in therapy, you go to school for that. It's like, Kelly,
Yeah,
Kelly, because
exactly.
you can sense it with other people, like Brian Hurst did with me 40 years ago. You can sense that makeup of that soul, that sense of instinctive personality, if you will, and you recognize it in other people for sure.
Right, right. Wow. And also, I just want to mention, if anybody is interested in mediumship, you have a program.
I do. Yes, my school. And then actually, Mediumship 1 is starting next month, in May. My first certification mediumship course is starting in May. Actually, how about that coincidence? So that's starting in May, and you can sign up for that. And it's a great course. And it does a lot of psychic kind of exercises, grounding exercises. It does intuitive exercises. And great. Oh, thanks, Renee. Renee put that areas right there. There you go. And it covers everything. I mean, it covers everything on this intuitive level, and it covers the basic of mediumship, good basics of mediumship. So that would be the first place to start. And if I do say so, it's a pretty well tailored and full
Fully
course.
Comprehensive of everything that goes on.
60 videos and workbooks, and and you meet people. So it is. It's good. It's very, very good. So if anyone's interested, look at that if you'd like. It's good time.
Yes. Let's see. Nikki Marie asked about animal communication. As a medium, let's talk about that. Can we talk to animals?
What do you think?
Oh, of course. Sometimes it's much easier.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it's much easier. Yeah, they come through so well, don't they? That kind of unconditional love, and it's easier to talk about animals than humans. I always say that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I love reading through horses. I've through horses. I've read through fish once. Went through a lot of dogs. A giraffe, horses, a lot of horses.
Yeah.
And my favorite story, I think it was in Minneapolis, I'm not sure, years and years ago. And it was a big auditorium, like 1,000 people in the place. And I said, I got a bird here. Oh, geez. That's where you got to trust the spirit. You got to trust
Right.
it. It's not about you. It's about that. And it was a good lesson for me, is to trust the spirit world. And I said, there's a bird. And I said, it's a parrot. And I think it was a parakeet. And I said, but it's in the freezer. And you had left it in the freezer. And I must go out of the freezer. You can't be just said. And no one, I looked around the audience, no one took it. No one accepted it. And I know what I heard. I know what I heard very clearly. Finally, a lady all the way back against the wall, she said, that's my Twerpy, I think it was Tweety, my Tweety. And she said, the male canary, and I had it, it's in the freezer. I said, and she goes, well, because we live here in the Midwest, I wait for the ground to thaw out. So wait until spring. I said, okay. Just one.
Oh, that's a different one.
That was a different one. I've gotten horses to talk about their awards that they did, and about the blanket that their mother and daddy made for them, and the stitching on the blanket, and the appreciation is so incredible. And we teach each other, the animals. We teach them. I know from having my daughter every day, and it's just great. So animals are great to communicate with.
Oh yeah. No, we're not doing readings tonight. Somebody just asked. Sorry about that.
Before the readings, we're just, how do you connect? So that's it. So if you have questions on how you can connect, put them down now, because that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I make a list here, Kelly, of certain things to remember. Also, when you're developing as a medium or connecting with a site, you want to take time for it. Take time for it. Don't rush it. And take time for yourself. Take time for the process to happen. Now, we're going to do a couple exercises later on, and it'll happen instantly. But the more you can get out of the way, it'll become much easier for you. And the reason why is, you're a soul. The only difference is you're a soul incarnate. You're a soul in the body. They're a soul discarnate, but you're still souls.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting.
Right.
And I find with a lot of mediumship, beginning mediumship, if that developing medium will sit first in a trance class and learn about trance first. Because in trance,
what is trance?
Learn the trance state. So it's really your soul is moving through these levels, these realms, and really surrendering and letting go, and become very, very passive. Where in mental mediumship, you become very, very active. You bring up the energy. Where in trance, you go down. You go to slow down the vibration, and you get to such a passive state that you will just let things just come through you and in you. I've done trance. I don't prefer it, but I do it very well from what I've been told. I was in Brazil once, and it was very strange. I went up, I was upstairs at a table with the mediums. I was just watching them, and all of a sudden I was out, and I came back, I guess 10 minutes later, and they said I was speaking some Egyptian dialect. I had never done that before. So,
oh my gosh,
space, it was all mediums there in Brazil. It was all these mediums. So I guess that energy opened it up right away. But so trance is very passive. And if you can learn to be passive, that will help with your surrendering. So when you go into mental mediumship, you'll get to that, if I can call it, the pause state. So you'll get to that vibration, and you break something through, but then, as you know, you have to pause a little bit to hear it. Because sound comes in wavelengths. There's wavelengths. So when it goes up, then the medium is able to hear them, see it, but then it goes down. And instead of me trying to chase that, they have to stop and pause for the next up.
So for me, that up is almost like a quickening.
Correct. Same. Yeah, very much so. But it's a wavelength. So if you're rushing that process, you might interpret the message differently. You might interpret the words differently. So you have to wait for that to keep again. And that pause is just so important. So trance helps a little bit with that and the surrendering aspects too.
Right.
Yeah. And then also lets go of your ego. You really let go of your ego right away with trance. So it'll help with the mental mediumship as well.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. I keep asking about faces. People seeing fake. Oh, wait, before I get there, CJ says, mediumship requires passion to serve others. And yes, it really does.
Passion and compassion.
Yes.
Right? And humility. I put that right there, CJ, too. Humility, passion, belief in self-empowerment, loving yourself. It's all of that. Those three ingredients for sure.
Yeah.
And also, Kelly, what other people think of you is none of your business. So I was a medium yesterday, and she was worried about people. This morning on my assault care, and she's worried about her family thought of her, so she wanted to do mediumship. So you really can't do it if you care what other people think, because you'll never they'll be fans. You gotta love yourself.
I mean, it's so funny. It's not enough that you have to learn everything about mediumship and really your craft, but then you have to deal with other people and what they think, and then you get to a point where you don't care what they think. You're just doing the work.
It's funny. I never cared what my family thought. I never did, and maybe that's why I moved out of the house when I was 18, and I was very independent. But I moved to California when I was 24, but I never really cared. I never really cared what other people thought. I just knew I guess I had a strong sense of who I was as a little boy. I was sure of that. I kind of knew myself pretty well, I think, and that assurance. I mean, who else would drive cross country to a job that they weren't sure of having, leaving their family back east? But and I've taught them. I've taught many. They taught me, but. You have to believe in yourself. Yeah, you're always going to have that faith or belief. And I've always had that. I knew there was something else besides this world. Always had that sense. And I knew it because I was always attuned to animals and the plant kingdom and the little kingdoms around. And always. And that was more real to me than the physical world. And now as I get older, that's getting more real to me than this world. It's a tough place. It's a tough world, this earth. The world as you get older and the conditions shifted here.
Right.
Yesterday I was walking around my garden and walking my doggy, and it was kind of a walking meditation. And I was a little upset over things that have happened lately with the shooting. I don't understand it. And the spirit came through to me and said, I don't know who it was. It was definitely a guide or felt like a counsel of some kind. And they said, James, you must learn in this lifetime to move through those conditions.
Probably a guide.
Move through those conditions.
Through those conditions.
They're just conditions. And everybody has conditions in their lives. Right. And it was how important the energy we put toward that.
Right.
And as we always said, life is movement, moving through things. Everything's moving.
And as mediums, we can receive those kind of messages for ourselves.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Especially if we have a hard time. I think mediums give out so much to a lot of people. I don't think they take a lot for themselves. And when I do, I enjoy it and I embrace it. And so I do. Even any success I've had, I've worked hard for it. I feel good because I've worked for it. I think anything in life you work for, you deserve. You've earned it. I think you've earned it. You can't go through life easy. I think you have to earn things. I do.
Well, you did.
You might get a good card deck there, but it's how you play the hand that matters.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Dean Haltom Grossman, can we find out now what our lesson is that we must learn?
Not now, but maybe in a couple of minutes. I'll put that into the exercise.
I love that.
I'll put that into I have a couple of exercises I want to do, and I'll incorporate that. Your soul lesson. So what about questions about mediumship? Oh,
Kellee gave me, let me see, Cheryl Cox Christensen. Kellee gave me a reading a few years ago from my husband at the time when I was absolutely slipping under the water from grief. That reading helped me to start to adjust and move forward. I 100% believe that session saved my life. Oh, Cheryl.
Great.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you.
That's why we do mediumship, to save lives.
It's why we do mediumship. Yeah.
And it also pushes people in their spiritual journey. I mean, that experience for Cheryl might have been so incredible that it opened her up to the whole spiritual aspects and perspective and learn more.
Yeah, it's true. And our loved ones, they're always around. If you're thinking about them, they're around.
Right. So here's one exercise I have for people that they can do. They can write this down if they'd like. And it works really, really well. So if there's, let's say, one particular soul, spirit one, what's the difference between a spirit and a soul? First of all, Kellee, what's the difference between a spirit and a soul?
Well, you explain this. You explain this one.
So here's a glass of wine. So there you go. So the soul is the container, and the wine is the spirit. So the spirit is the essence of our soul. So soul is a container, and the spirit is what's inside it. So it's like the water in the glass, wine glass. Mm-hmm. It's that, and the container is the soul. So the soul is a home to the spirit. And the spirit is the essence, that energy. Somebody said this one, we had a great spirit. Oh, she was a great spirit. She had great. Yeah. That's it is. That's really what it is. So we breathe in, if you will, the energy of life, and that activates the spirit within. The breath is movement, and the spirit always needs to be moving. So the activation of the intention, the activation of the breath to move the energy helps that spirit to move and expand. Wow. I don't know where that just came from, but. And then there's channeling. So what's channeling? Well, there's actually another technique with mediumship. It's a little bit kind of toward the trance, but you've done it as well as mental mediumship. And it's called the overshadowing. And you get to a space where you're sitting, and this happens in development circles all the time. You'll sit there and you become so aware of the spirit coming so close to you, and it's almost like they're on top of you. And you become aware of someone else's eyes and the feeling of somebody else. And if you let yourself go enough, you begin to get thoughts from them. You're very aware of what's going on, but you get to get thoughts from them, and you kind of become them. You give them that space for a little bit. So later we'll do something with that, but it's a good one. So that's called so overshadowing. That's called.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So the thing with connecting, the first exercise I can tell people about, if there's one spirit you want to hear from the most or have a message to or something, what I'd like to do is, what you should do is take out a piece of paper, and I would say write a letter to them, but put their name on top, and just write them a letter, dear so and so, and just write the letter, all your feelings and all these details, and let it out, and then at the end just sign it and fold it, put an envelope, put their name on it, and put it somewhere, maybe in a drawer or a desk. Before you do that, so you've written a letter to them, you sent out, and of course words have thoughts behind them, and spirit will pick up our thoughts, so they hear you when you're creating that letter. And what they will do is, once you set a schedule, say maybe a week from now. So when you're on your schedule, in your calendar, write down a week from now, this particular time, I'm going to sit down again. And this time it's going to be a letter from the spirit to me. So you do exactly the same, but you sit with a piece of paper and you just breathing exercise 3 times in through the nose, 2 times out, 2 times in, 3 times out, 2 breaths in, 3 breaths out. And just relaxing, just getting to a relaxing flow. And then when you get that space of, enough of the breath process of in and out, you'll get to this nice little mellow spot, I call it. And you just sit, and then you put the pen and the paper, and you think, I'm ready. And you start writing. But I'm right through you. And the reason the breath is important, because you'll put yourself in that receptive space. You got to put yourself in a receptive space, so you're not kind of in the way. You're giving the space to come in. That really, really works. And people have very profound messages from many, many thousands and thousands of people from around the world if they get that exercise out. That's one way.
Like automatic writing.
It's like automatic writing. Yes. We call it overshadowing, influencing. Inspiration means in spirit. So we're inspired, meaning spirit is working through us. So every book that's written, every musical composition, everything that's been created down here, we're inspired mediums. Everyday people are mediums in that respect. They're inspired creative people to materialize those things in word or sound, vision. And so everyone's a medium, if you will, but they're in a different station, right? So they're the creative arts, perhaps, and a mediumship or a medium on that mediumship level. So I believe it's that creative force, that creative energy, and that's why the great actors and singers and so forth. And our mutual friend was talking about this the other day with me and brought this up. Creative people tend to be very psychic. Creative people tend to be very much mediumistic. Actors, good actors and actors, mediumistic. Meryl Streep, total medium.
Well,
a physical medium, a physical medium. She's a very good physical medium, actually. And I've seen her do some movies, and she brought through like, whoa, Margaret Thatcher when she was in that part. I was like, whoa, she's right. That's with her. And the French chef, Julia Child.
Right.
Yeah, she was pretty incredible.
So true.
There's no clue about it whatsoever, which is great.
So this is a great question, and I really appreciate this. Argy Mandakas, she says, does it matter if you enter into the pursuit of healing and mediumship late in life? Will you be as effective if you don't start young as you probably should have? I love this question, Argy, because I didn't even go back to grad school until 52. No, and I didn't start becoming a medium until I think it was around 42, 43, 44. And then as I get older, it's just gotten better and better. And frankly, I think it's better when you start off, if you can, a little older, because you have some experience here and you tend to be life experience. You tend to be more grounded. You tend to be able to be more solid.
Exactly right. And I think there's no time for the soul. I mean, we can put the time element on the soul. The soul
Right.
develops the way naturally meant for that soul. So it might be natural for your soul to develop at 40 or 50.
Right.
So that happens. Definitely happens. Yeah, everyone's different.
Everybody's different. Right. Clearly, Kate says, should we write down different symbols we would like to see from spirit to relay messages? What do you think about that?
Well, number one, I don't like it that way, because then we're in control. I don't like us being in control, right? Yeah. So that's a big one. You got to let go of control. If you want to work in the spirit world, you got to let go of that. You got to relinquish control, which is going to be hard for a lot of people. So what I do is I put myself in a meditative space, and I do workshop it a long time, and in a meditative space. And if you want, in that meditative space, everyone can visualize a workroom in the spirit world. Maybe there's a workroom there, classroom, whatever you want to create it any way you'd like, with couches or windows, whatever it is. And that would be or I do gardens, spirit gardens. So you go to a spirit garden you created, or a spirit room you've created, your workroom, and you create it any way you want to. You design it any way you want to, any colors, any furniture, flowers, whatever it is. And that's going to be the intention and the energies. That's your spirit room. That's your receptive room, if you will. And so when you want to receive things, you'll go to that room and you'll just, another great one I have is, again, from Mavis, you're sitting in that room and there's an open window. And at which point it's looking out at the sky or the ground, wherever you want. And you ask spirit to come in when they're ready. It could be a guide of yours and let them show you. So say, what symbol is necessary for me to see? Maybe in that room there's a screen and that you let them place that symbol. And then you write down a symbol, draw a symbol, and you can say, what does a symbol mean? Do it that way instead of forcing them. Let them be easier with them. It's a good way. And that's a good exercise too, to connect with spirit. When you put yourself in that meditative space and you create that room with a window. It's called a window with a view. And you ask a spirit guide to come through in that window and look at them. And also there's a chair. Somebody create a chair in front of us sitting there. And you can invite that guy to come to the window, sit down at the chair, and have a conversation with you about the other side. Or a loved one, you can ask that to, and they can sit there and tell you, ask them a question about how they spend their day there. What is it like? We know there's no time. So what does it look like? What can they tell us that would help us in insights of the spirit world?
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's Mavis Patilla again, lovely Mavis. So those are good. So the more curiosity we have about it, that helps as well. See, because you have the mundane human existence. It brings to a little higher level with the soul of curiosity, if you will.
Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Well, we've answered this so many times about people who commit completed suicide is the correct term.
It doesn't matter.
You still go to heaven.
Yes, that's today.
Yeah.
I don't know anything but heaven. Well, hell is here on the human earth, I think, but I just think it's the levels of realms of awareness, basically of consciousness. So, you get to a level you don't need a physical body, you don't need this, you don't need anything like this, or food or drink, and you just become pure energy, whatever that means from this level,
I have a question here. Monique Celcia Sanchez says, I'm painting and feel it is evolving and giving a message. And she says she believes she's being inspired from the other side. Oh, absolutely you are. I'm curious, James, what do you think on the people that can do this? I think it's an extraordinary gift. The ones that are mediums and they can draw and paint the person.
Masters come through. Masters, down in Brazil. A lot of Brazilian artists. I watched them. I watched them for many years. And I was down in Brazil, and I'd see them. And sometimes young kids. I actually bought one. I bought a Monet, and actually now I have a garden that looks like that. But I bought that in Channel Monet within, I don't know, minutes. And it's that. Is it real? Who am I to say? I think there was I don't know the style enough, the detail of it, but I've seen enough to believe it's real. I've seen enough to believe it's real. So they get inspired. Everybody in Brazil is a medium. It's so open down there. They're all mediums down there. I did a book signing down there in Rio once. Incredible. Because I'm there signing books and they speak Portuguese. And the guy comes to get the book signed, and he goes, my friend would like to give you something. I said yes, and the friend goes,
oh no,
huh? There was a flower on his tongue, and supposedly, this I'm not sure about. The spirit can materialize things. That's called an apport, where they can materialize some physical object, and it'll appear something out of the nose or on the tongue or the ear of it's physical mediumship. So, and listen, down there in Brazil, they're all that way. So who knows what was real? But I was certainly not going to touch it. I didn't know.
You knew enough not to do that.
Yeah, but that's another way they contact us too. Sometimes coins, we find coins everywhere, or we see this synchronicity in numbers. On a license plate, we drive, you see our loved one's name there, right? Happens. And if we ask for signs, can we connect with them? Show me a sign today. And I don't care what it is, but just show me it and then leave it alone and guarantee you'll get the sign. And it'll happen the weirdest, strangest way.
Well, after my mom died, I saw a license plate on the 405, and this one said, and I wrote it down, love mom. Right in front of me, the car pulled right in front of me. I couldn't get my phone out fast enough between my grief and driving. Then I said, okay, thank you, Mom. I'm in the moment.
You told me that when it happened. I remember you told me that. My dad died right a week after, and my sister and I were really into this whole thing. And Dad gives a sign, and we're going down to the main town. And right in front of us is a white car, and it has my father's initials, AVP 1111, which means angels around us. That's any beginnings. And it's 444. Sorry, it was 444. A-people, which are angels around us. And that was a sign right there. And we
Right
don't want
there.
to make things more of a sign there, but we can sense, again, with our intuition, is it real, is it legitimate? Especially when you see, dragonflies circling around you 3 times. I mean,
Right.
that's, or a hawk standing right next to you up here and waiting, not going
Oh,
anywhere.
completely.
Yeah, so it's all that. And the more open we are to it, the more they can work with us and do that.
Right, right.
So you
That's
want to do the exercise for
Yeah, let's
contact?
do an exercise.
All right. So this is one which I've done in workshops before. It's very successful, and it's more successful if you let yourself go. So I'm going to bring you through a space, and it's a meditative space, and it's really a space of surrendering, and it's
Okay.
totally surrendering. So you'll hear my voice, and at one point, and I'll bring you to this lovely receptive space. And again, you can just later on your own, you'll be able to do this too. So just listen to my voice, walking you in, if you will, to a lovely space. And it's at that space that you're really going to surrender completely. Now, you're very safe. I don't believe in evil. You won't be possessed. There's nothing like that really possible with this. Even when you're a trance medium, there's always a part of your soul that you're aware of what's happening in the next room. You're very aware of it. So none of that exists as far as people take you over like exorcism. Please throw that out. That's not true. Spirit is a pure love. So I'm going to walk to this space, and you're going to shift your awareness, right? You shift your awareness to a space where you're letting the spirit people come to you. And they're going to come to you, and I'm going to build up that connection stronger and stronger. And the more you surrender and just let yourself be, almost like you're going to fall asleep, that's the best way you can receive this. Now, don't worry about, I got to fall asleep. No, just use the pattern of your breathing to just bring you deeper and deeper. And anytime that you feel I don't think it's going to happen with this group, but like the monkey brain or thoughts you have, just let them go by and go back to your breath. Go back to your breath. Okay. So wherever you are, I'd like for you now to invite you to just close your eyes and be comfortable wherever you're sitting down, whether it's in a chair or you're lying down on the floor, whatever, or you're in a bed, whatever it is. Just let that space take you on. So you become one with that chair, the bed, the ground, and just become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of your body, your feet, and your legs, and your torso, stomach, chest, shoulders, arms, hands, back of your head, your face. And as you become aware of the body, just send out a thought of gratitude. Gratitude, because this body brings us from one space to another, and we rarely will thank it. So now is the time to give gratitude to every cell and every muscle, every fiber of your being. Just send love and gratitude. Just thank you to your body for helping me, assisting me in this human world. And as you're in this space now, I'd like for you to become aware of the truth that you are indeed a soul of pure love. You are made of love, whether you remember that or not. You are part of that God source, that perfection. So imagine now, above your space there, whether it's a room or wherever it might be, an office, imagine this beautiful coastal golden light all around your ceiling or the sky. And this golden light is kind of the ceiling that's open that the spirit world are welcoming you to see, to experience. Become aware of this golden light. We hear many times of the golden city, but now we're aware of this beautiful golden light, this perfect energy. And we are part of that light. So as we inhale, we open ourselves up to that awareness, remembrance that we are the perfect God light of love. And as we exhale out of our out of our mouth, so we inhale through nose, out the mouth. As you let go of the exhalation, the intention is to release and let go. There's no suffering in this human world. You do not need to suffer. No negativity, any limited thinking, thought control, self-criticism. You're going to release that with the exhalation and let that energy just fall down. And Mother Earth will take it in and recycle it to love. Good. So now I'd like for you to imagine this golden lights come into you with the breath. And inhale. Feel that love all the way down. That breath goes all the way down to your feet. And exhale. And let it go. Let it go. And be still. Be still. Be still. Good. And again, that beautiful golden light, just welcome that in with the breath. And inhale. Imagine circling every cell, muscle, fiber of your being. And exhale. Be still. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Good. Just be still. Be still. Good. And inhale. And now exhale a little bit further. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Be still. Be still. Be still. Good. And one more time. Inhale. Your helium balloon. And exhale. A little bit longer. Let it go. Trails. Let it go. Good. Be still. Be still. Be still. Okay. And just become aware now of your soul, much larger than the physical body, where your energy is way outside the body, encompasses a beautiful space all around you, above, below you, front of you, behind you, from side to side. And this is your lovely space. And as we become aware of that space, we send out a thought, a prayer, an intention from the spirit world. And we send out a thought and just create your own prayer, your own invitation, if you will, by saying, "Dear spirit friend, I sit here tonight in this space to welcome you into my space. Whoever has a great need, the person or people that I knew in this lifetime, I open up my space now for that one spirit that has a great need to be met. Dear spirit friend, whoever that is that has that greatest need to come through to me now, I ask you please to stand behind me. Dear spirit friend, I welcome you to come even closer behind me. Let us merge and blend as one soul. My ego steps aside and I become aware now of your energy coming closer and coming closer. Dear spirit friend, I welcome you so much that I ask you now to blend and merge as one, that you cannot really tell the difference between yourself and mine, to become one, as if we're sitting together. You're on my lap, but you're merging, and I'm going out. Dear spirit friend, I ask you now to come so close and so connected now that you come forward and I step behind. The thoughts in my mind are now your thoughts. You become me. The visions I have are your visions. The words out of my mouth are your words. We think as one. We see as one. We speak as one. We feel as one. Dear Spirit, I give you the space now to once again feel the physicality of this vibration. And as I sit and observe, I become aware of your thoughts, your visions, your words. And as this music is playing, let yourself go deeper. Let the Spirit come forward as you go behind. Dear spirit friend, we thank you so much for sharing this space with us today. Dear loved one, we ask you now to step back behind us, with your hands upon our shoulders. And as you step back behind us, we now move into awareness of our own physical self. We become aware of our own feet on the floor, our legs, our bodies, our hands, our arms, our backs, our chests, shoulders, neck, our heads. The thoughts we have are our own unique thoughts. The visions we have our own visions. The words that come out of our mouth are our own words. And the sense, the feeling we have, we're back to our own sensing and feeling. Dear spirit friend, we thank you for this insight. And slowly open up your eyes and be as one.
Thank you.
Welcome. Did you have an experience?
I did. I had my mom.
Did you?
It was a deep experience actually with her. I could almost smell her. I could feel so much alive with her.
Did your thoughts become her thoughts? No, because you're working.
Completely.
Oh, they did.
No. I mean, I really went out. Nope.
And what did you find, or what did you discuss, or what did you discover? Anything about your
Yeah,
mother, you know, or
we were talking about love and the meaning of love, and what it's like to be loved, and it was an important topic for her. And this is not something that in life that she really discussed that much.
Right, Kelly.
Yeah.
It helps you have a whole new awareness of your mom.
Completely.
Yeah. When I first did this exercise many years ago with Tony Stockwell, and I didn't know this exercise, and I just opened myself up to whoever came through. And my mother came through, and I was shrunk in my stature, my hands were smaller, and my thoughts were, and it's very interesting, she was an alcoholic, and I never knew as a child why she drank. What was the reason? And it bothered me my whole life until this exercise. I didn't know until this exercise why. And when I became her, my thoughts were, I couldn't be met by my husband's emotions. So I have to drown my sorrows.
Wow.
This exercise. So there are insights. Wow. Yeah, the more you can let yourself go, the more you can become them. So anybody want to write down any experience they might have had? Mind blowing.
Lisa Lone says, mind blowing. I met my inner child. Ooh, wow. Wow. I feel daddy's tears.
An insight that you didn't have before about your loved one, or someone came to you didn't expect, or any. I'd like to hear about perspective of insights of. It's really interesting exercise. I think we have a group here that would be open to all different experiences.
Yeah. Let's see. People were feeling goosebumps.
Oh yes.
Oh, Nancy Powers Connolly says, my sister came through and I could feel her left arm, which was
Right.
paralyzed in life. Interesting.
Right. Well, she has her arm back, that means.
Yes.
And if you let yourself then ask going deeper, you feel her energy or what she thinks about right now, what she feels right now. So you can go further with that.
Yeah. Let's see. So a lot of people saw there. Oh, Gina Vado says, my mom touched my shoulders.
Very good.
Yeah. Interesting. Somebody, Elizabeth Ann, felt her lover, who must have passed.
My mom touched my shoulders. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Glenda Sullivan said, well, was it who? It's her. No, Becky Hamilton. Heard, I don't want my son to go away again. Well, he's not away. He's not away. He's around you, but in your mind, you put him far away, and he's not. But you certainly can't smother him, right? The loving thing to do is let him experience that, so he'd share it with you. You wouldn't want to cut life off of him, right?
Yeah.
So he's always around you, darling. Please, and help this. Again, you have to expand. It's not the humanness; it's the soulfulness. It's the spiritual.
Yeah. And so for people that want to study mediumship and really get the basics down, your School of Mystical Arts, the mediumship certification is incredible. I've met many of your students, James. I've met many of them.
Yeah, and they've gone through professional, wonderful mediumship lives, and professional lives, and yeah, it's good. I'm very proud of all of them that took the course and pursue it. Some people will take it, and then that'll be the end of it. But once you're touched with that sense of the spirit, or whatever you want to put it, you'll always come back to it in some way, whether it's service work or something else. Your soul's been touched. So once that flame is ignited, you can't go out.
Right.
It's very, very
right. True. That's so true. Wow.
Janice Peterson said, I met a counselor from college. She had a message for me and her girlfriend about their dog. Oh, that's interesting. I had a man come to me, and he said he's one of my professors. I'm like, and he was wearing a bow tie and a green shirt, a green suit, woolen suit jacket, and he had a mustache, curly hair, and a checkered shirt with some kind of bow tie. And he said he's a philosopher. I almost felt like a mathematician type of person as well. So it was right around me, and it was like, wow. And it belonged to me. I hadn't seen him before, so it must be new in the team.
Don't you love new members of the team?
As we evolve, they evolve,
Exactly.
Because, their job is to help us at a certain level, and then someone else will come in, and that guy might have to go to somebody else, and they have to go move on too. So
right. Oh gosh. So so many interesting comments. Twink Star says that's a great name. An immense experience with full-on spiritual language, conversation, and emotions.
Great.
Yeah. Good.
Connie DeMai. I have that fear also. So again, where does that fear come from? And is it legit? What do you say, Kelly? Is it
fear of what exactly?
Yeah, well, fear of what? What are you fearing? I think it all goes down to, is it evil or not? Am I going to be possessed?
Oh, does it go down to that? Oh, yeah. It's just fear. Yeah.
Just fear control.
Yeah.
Now, this is one from Suzanne. She says, Suzanne Coach says, oh, they go, okay. I saw a friend I hadn't thought of in decades. Great. Who passed from Alzheimer's, who was able to come back to me. Oh, that's great. And they meet and feel it and breathe. What do you miss? Perfect, Suzanne. That's it. That's the exercise. You got it.
That's great.
Your life. Yes, you're giving that experience again to feel the physicalness. Life is so much lighter during that. Oh, that's great, Suzanne. There you go. That's exactly what you want. That.
Absolutely.
She got enough out of the way that she had that experience, and you know what to expect, which is always the greatest thing to do.
Wow. Well, this was just wonderful. Oh, any mediumship 2 course to start, James? People are asking.
We'll do one first. It'll be later in the year. I first got to really put myself into mediumship 1, so that's I break them up so I can really involve myself. So mediumship 1 May, and then I think it'll be in July. We'll do mediumship 2.
Great. Wow.
I can stay on, Kelly.
I can stay on. I'm not in a hurry.
You have to. You're
not going anywhere.
I am. Oh, thanks, Renee. Put the school link up right there. That's very nice. Oh, good, Kelly. Why did you go? Great.
Good.
See, spirits age in that dimension. Very interesting. Not physically like we would. Mentally, they can. Mentally, they can. From more experience that they have, they evolve that way. And their insights and interests, they'll expand that way. But not physical like we have here. Everybody goes back usually to the prime of their life when they pass over. You go back to the time of life that you want to go to, want to experience again. So you felt your mother, was she younger? Do you feel a sense that she was a bit younger? Or?
I felt that she was probably in her 40s.
Okay.
In fact, about 40s. Yeah, 40s for sure. And her energy sparked me back up.
Yeah.
Guys, my mom had such spark
She's strong
energy.
lady. Strong lady. Very
Strong
strong.
lady.
M. Rodriguez says, yes, I feel evil attachment when opening up. Eek, my former Catholic. Yeah. Yeah. That's where it's coming from. So again, meditation would be good for you, mindfulness
Yeah.
and letting go of control and really listen. God can hurt you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Cheryl Cox says, why would I feel a huge heaviness on my chest when the exercise was finishing? Why do you think?
Well, it's different. It's different for different people and different experiences, which mean different things to different people. So I could say possibly what it is. Sometimes it's like the earlier lady said, lose my son. I want to go back. Sometimes it's holding him on. It's usually emotional when it's that level. So she probably had a very strong emotional experience and maybe hadn't processed it fully or dealt it. I'm just spitballing here because I'm not sure because everyone's so different. I've never had a negative experience with people having this exercise. It's always been
Me either, ever.
very, very positive, very healing for a lot of people. But again, you got to get out of the ego. You got to get out of your own way. You got to control. It's surrendering. Not everybody's going to get the first time. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But again, you can see where I'm holding on to something and I can't go deep. See?
Right. Maha Mahfouz says, can we meet our spirit guides in this meditation if we don't have close people who passed?
Certainly you can, Maha.
Absolutely.
You can also do the room with the view meditation. With you sit yourself in that space of the room, you create the spirit room, and ask one of your guides to show themselves in that window, and then to become aware of what they're wearing, what they feel like, then sit down and have a conversation with you. So yes.
Yes.
I have a great spirit guide worked course in my school too, by the way. It's great meeting your guides. It's very, very good.
Barbara J says, I felt my father who has passed away vibrate during this meditation. Good.
You're giving him time to come in and to share himself with you, which I'm sure he wants to do.
So Sarah Taylor says, I highly recommend James's mediumship certification courses. You will learn so much. It is as if James is in the room with you, teaching you the lessons.
It's kind of true. The videos. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah's a star student. From nothing to boom. Yeah. So there was potential there, and she let herself surrender. She let herself sit in development circles, and great student. So yeah, it's joy in mediumship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It was also the psychologist and therapist. We wear many hats. And you're lucky because you had that psychology background, so that really helps with mediumship.
It helps with the work I do with mediumship. Yeah, it does. And I would say to all budding mediumships, take psychology classes. Even if you just take one or two, at least you're starting to learn about it because it all goes together. It's a wonderful combination here.
I was going to be a psychologist. I was a study for it, actually.
It would have been a great shrink.
Yeah, I do it now, but yeah. When I go to therapy, I usually end up being the therapist. I'm like, seriously, I'm paying the therapist.
Yes.
Maybe in a natural way, but it's really true. It's like
Oh, here's a great question. Somebody says, let me see, where did it go? Does spirit choose not to come through if they feel their loved one is angry about their passing?
Not necessarily. If you have changed your mind, and it's just again, there's a mindset that you have, or something about that which has to be released first. Yeah. So you'll see them in a very different light. You'll see them in a very different light. They'll talk about it, or you'll feel maybe they'll give you some sense of apology or what it might be. But no, that's your own self letting go and letting have control.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people blindfolded. I said, okay, now we're going to start the exercise because or stuff with ears, and they really have that experience going in within. I mean,
does ringing in the ear mean anything? This is from Visual Memories.
Again, everybody's different in development, and I have heard that from budding mediums that would have experience. I had that at one point, yes, and I had tingling. All over my body. I'd have things. Yeah, but that is common. I mean, everybody asks that question. Yes, people experience it, and other people don't, and sometimes it's just your ear. It's hard. It's a ring in your ear. Sometimes try to make everything. It's just a ring in your ear sometimes.
Right. Oh my gosh. Let's see.
How about a couple more, Kelly? Then we'll
okay. Let's see. Why did I feel something in my body during this exercise? Was it a wave of spirit? Anne Margaret asks.
Well, Anne Margaret, I am Margaret. So what you should do, Anne, you know this work. You should just quiet your mind and just go within, or just do that thing with a paper, not the letter necessarily, but you can put yourself in the meditative state and just ask spirit, what do you need to learn from that? What was that feeling that you had? Why couldn't you go deeper? Just let them And you might think you're making it up, but you're not. Your higher self and spirit is coming through you. Just putting yourself to the side, even if it's that spirit room you can imagine, visualize, and have a couch on the side. And when you're working, you sit on that couch, and then the spirit comes through. Those are ways to visualize it, the techniques, you see.
Yes. And the last one we'll take is from Amanda Elizabeth. How would one surrender?
Being still, by like breath, being still, not caring about what other people think of you, loving yourself, just let go and let God, just relaxing. What the Buddhists say, you can't push the river. You just got to let it flow, and you can't just let go of fighting. It's not necessary. So the breath is the best way to let go and surrender. I find the breath really works, and gardening for me, it really works for me. It's a meditative state. I go into it automatically when I'm in the garden or watering the garden or fertilizing, and I become kind of one with the kingdom there.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about it. It just is. It really just is. And we all are just is. We're just who we are. We don't. It's interesting. I went to a workshop with our friend Jeffrey on the nothingness, because really we're nothing and we're everything. It's like we're no form. We're just spirit, we're essence. The human put so much stuff on us.
Yeah.
But you can blend yourself with the kingdom, blend yourself with the trees, and become aware of aware of the oneness, Kelly. It's aware of the oneness. And everybody has their point of view, and that's okay. It's just part of the oneness. We're all part of the oneness. So I guess that's in your mind as you can open up to that sense of oneness that will help you. Yeah. Well, thank you, Cal.
Thank you, James. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Renee.
It was fun. And have good dreams tonight, too. They come in your dreams.
Yeah.
So.
See you.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
The James and Kellee Show.